welcome to the Yet to Be Named Magic the Gathering podcast. Dom, how you doing, my friend? It's been a long time.
Yeah, doing well, thanks. How about you?
Yeah, not too bad. Thank you very much. We just want to both apologise for you guys for not putting out a podcast recently. Life has been busy for us both, and yeah, it's been a bit of a difficult one. But anyway, we're here, we're recording now, and we're all going to catch up because there's lots to talk about. Dom, first of all, how much Magic have you played since Amsterdam? We'll come on to Amsterdam in a minute, but how much have you played?
I went to one Friday night pod, and I played in the pre-release for Bloomburrow. That's it.
We'll talk about Bloomburrow later, but yeah, I am kind of the same actually. I went to the Orteria Guild event last Sunday, which was very, very good fun. Honestly, I don't think I've played much Magic between then and Amsterdam. I may have done a Wednesday evening pod, and that is literally it. Yep. It's just been crazy. That's how crazy things have been. So yeah, looking forward to jumping back into it.
Oh yes.
Let's round up from MagicCon Amsterdam. So, Dom, I know obviously you could only make the one day in the evening, but how did you find Amsterdam? Tell me about it. Talk to me.
Even though I was only there for one day, incredible. Just so great to see everyone again. A lot of the UK creators, and yeah, there was a lot going on that day. I mean, we went to Game Nights Live. Was cool to see that again.
Yep.
Queue for merch stall, not so much fun.
Yeah,
we got there in the end.
I would say, actually, the thing that was really frustrating is on day 2 and day 3, I passed that place a couple of times. Next to no queue. It was next to no queue.
Yeah, they didn't have the thing I wanted either, which is one of the pre-cons, which just kind of rubs salt in the wound. But
the old Drazi pre-con, yeah.
Yeah.
That is a real shame. But equally, I know it's something that we discussed early days, and it was one of those things that Sod's Law says if we didn't do what we done, we might have missed out, particularly on the Secret Lairs. So basically what both me and Dom decided to do is we literally entered and we went straight for the store and joined the queue, because what we wanted to do is make sure we get our stuff and make sure there's none of that, oh, sorry, it sold out or anything along those lines. I don't know if much sold out, if it did at all. I'm sure it did, other than your pre-con, of course. But it'd be interesting if anyone's got any information on that. But it certainly didn't seem like it. I know when I walked past, this looks like they still had stuff. But either way, we made our choices and we kind of went from there. So, yeah, there was lots to do. That first day obviously just seemed to go crazy. What were your highlights from the day then, from the things that you saw?
Ooh, I think Game Nights Live was really good. The preview panel, always a lot of fun. Yeah. Just getting to see what's coming up. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the horror set, which they showed some of.
Oh, Dustmorn. Yeah.
Dustmorn. Yeah, forget the furries. It's all about the horror.
The worrying thing could be horror on the furries, maybe.
What was it, like Five Nights at Freddy's?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, We'll talk a little bit about that. And well, actually, I'll tell you what. Let's talk about it now, because for me personally, the preview panel was one of my favourite things on day one. I loved seeing the way that they spoil these things. I know most people, their first spoilers they'll see will be online, X, Twitter, whatever, Instagram, all that sort of stuff. Or they'll probably get it from a lot of the same places we do. So you can watch they do like a preview stream where they'll showcase stuff. Yeah. But what I really like about these events is they will sit down, normally with the designers, and they will talk to you about the upcoming set, and then they start to show the very early pre-releases of the following set. So the next set for us there was obviously Bloomburrow, and then the following one was Dustmorn. And to start to see some of that art and some of those early cards was just chef's kiss. I absolutely loved it. Yeah, absolutely loved it.
It was cool. And then obviously they dropped a big surprise, which was the Foundation set as well.
Yeah.
So it's a standard set that's going to be legal for
2029. Yeah.
Yeah,
So anyone that doesn't know, the foundation set is basically going to be a return of core sets, but it's a one-off set that, like Dom says, won't rotate for 5 years. So there will be a core of cards that you can always build around. Look, I think, I know we spoke about this beforehand. I think this is a really good thing. I think it is the building blocks that the core sets always had that I think are kind of feel like they're missing a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, having a kind of set number of cards that you know are going to be legal, that takes so much pressure out of having to reprint them in sets. You know, stuff like Shock and things like that, where actually every other set they do kind of slip it in there.
Yeah.
Being able to not do that because it's already standard legal is a big, you know, that frees up so many card slots to do, you know, something a bit more creative.
That's what I'm
hoping. Also, flesh out mechanics that sometimes don't get full support from one set, you know, because we do move from plane to plane. Basically, we spend one set there and then we move on. Actually, when they introduce new mechanics, sometimes there's just not quite enough, especially like if you're building a commander deck, from my perspective, to fully support that mechanic. And even in standard, sometimes there's normally enough, but sometimes you're just missing maybe one or two key pieces that have kind of filtered into the next couple of sets as well.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I think it's a great idea, and some of the products look really interesting, like the starter set, and
I wonder if we'll get. Not that I really feel like we need this as a product, but I wonder if they'll bring back the deck building packages they used to build.
There is an equivalent of that product. I can't remember its exact name, but yeah, that comes with an amount of cards, including I think 22 foils and some boosters. So it's almost exactly that. Deck Builder's Toolkit is coming back in some form.
Yeah, that's what it was called. It's basically like the Foundations bundle, basically, isn't it? You know, but probably a bit more fleshed out. So there'll be some more cards in there. There'll be some more of the staples, probably a bit more of the lands as well. I'm really looking forward to. I know it's one of those things. It's very easy to be like, oh, you know, core sets are coming back. Oh. But honestly, I think it's going to be a good thing. I think it's nice to have the core stable cards that are going to be knocking around. Exactly what you've just sort of said. You know, instead of having, you know, your Shocks and your Duresses that are going to have to be reprinted every single time. Hopefully they can take those slots and maybe combine a few of the slots together and make like better cards, if that makes a bit of sense. That's not me saying they don't make good cards, but the problem is if they're trying to add these cards in, you know, our sets are already getting massive. So if we can just sort of maybe shrink the sets a little bit, have like nicer, unique cards, particularly to the planes, I think it opens that door a little bit, don't you?
Yeah, I think what they've shown, obviously there is some powerful cards like Llanowar Elves is one of the cards they previewed. Just like that's
Wrath of
amazing. God. Yeah, it wasn't Wrath of God though, was it? It was Day of Judgment, is it, or something?
Oh, actually, that's a good point. Yeah, it might have been.
It's basically a 4-mana Wrath. It's effectively the same since nothing regenerates anymore anyway.
It was. Yeah, you're right. You're 100% right.
Just being pedantic.
No, you're dead right. But also the other one I was really excited to see. Not that playable, I feel, but unfortunately, but another showing of Omniscience again, which is always good. Reprint. I love that card, and it's also nice to see that it's got I think is the original Jason Chan Omniscience artwork, which is one of my very favorite bits of Magic artwork. Actually, it's
a great piece of art. It's basically Jace kind of planeswalking, isn't it? How he sees planeswalking.
Exactly, and I love that. It's just such a beautiful piece. Yeah, it really is. If you guys listening haven't seen it, just go Google it. Jason Chan Omniscience. Honestly, it's an incredible bit. So yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see what happens, and we should hopefully start to see some more of those cards coming soon. You know,
they've released the product lineup now.
Yeah, so we can't be too far off the spoiler / preview, so that'll be good. Before we get to Bloomburrow, let's talk about Duskmourn. How are you feeling about this? What are your thoughts?
I cannot wait for this set. I love, 80s horror movies, all of these kind of tropes like, Evil Dead, all this kind of thing, where, there's ghosts coming out of the TVs, or they're not TVs, but they are. And you've got these like the survivors on the plane. kind of Ghostbuster style. So they've got this like ghost busting technology. It just looks cool. It appeals to me in a way that some of the other recent sets maybe haven't done as much. It's just full of nostalgia, but also it looks great, and it's unique in terms of playing, right? Because obviously, from what I said, obviously there's a haunted house. A demon was imprisoned there. Oh, you can't leave this house. But he managed to find a way to extend the haunted house to cover the entire plane.
Yep.
So the only thing left on this plane is just room after room after room of like reality warped haunted house, and then a few pockets of survivors here and there. It's like that's cool.
Yeah. There's definitely something really nice feeler. There's a really nice feel and vibe to the sound of it. The way it was explained to us at the preview panel was really, really interesting. Actually, it really whetted my appetite for it. And I know this is what these preview panels are for. Their whole thing is to get people interested, to build hype. I know there's a lot of hype, and we always get told these sort of things. But legitimately, I think watching and listening to a lot of this stuff made me really kind of go, this definitely sounds like a good one. I think this could definitely be I don't know. I'll make a guess that I think this could be a black strong color identity power level. I reckon there's gonna be some really good black. Yeah, I reckon there's gonna be some really good black cards in this. Maybe some black and some red or something like that. But I don't know. Just get feeling in my waters, so they say. But for me, the art style looks incredible as well. You just sort of said it, you hit the nail on the head. It's that sort of really 80s esque style. I definitely got Ghostbusters vibe from it, and you can definitely sort of see like you sort of said, the ghost busting like technology, although it's not, the TVs and that are not TVs and that sort of thing. But actually, I find what was really interesting is the way they have that connection. They're basically the TVs were effectively a portal, but also I liked how like it sort of I can't remember the term they used, but basically you would pour out of the TV or something. So it obviously sounds like there's going to be an expansion of these portals, which. So the art they show, it's like all the spirits and stuff on the plane are kind of like glitchy, like poltergeist, as if they've popped out the TV kind of thing. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So it's like all these like screens that you see around the place are not actually showing, TV programs. They are a window into this other dimension, effectively. So they're dimensional portals, and that's what it's showing you, rather than your favorite soap.
What you mean? No EastEnders?
No,
that's not my favorite soap, by the way. I don't even know if I have a favorite soap. It's just the first thing that popped into my head.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm on board with you of this as well. I'm really looking forward to this. I think it sounds like a really nice theme for the plane. It's almost a bit. We had sort of murder mystery recently. This one feels a bit more like horror mystery. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
I think it's quite different. Yeah.
Oh no, yeah, exactly, 100%. And we've got some off the top of my head, I can't remember. They've got this unique. Is it called room cards? They've got now that are coming out. Is it rooms? I can't quite remember.
Yeah, it was something like so you can. I think they're enchantments, aren't they?
Yeah, but they hadn't been explained at that moment in time. They just showed fully. No, they just showed some of the artworks, but they hadn't actually described the mechanics behind them. They sort of said that was to be coming.
I feel like they're going to end up being something similar to you. I don't know if you ever played Yu-Gi-Oh, but you had like cards that kind of changed where you were fighting. So you had one that made it so you're fighting in the ocean, you got bonuses based on that and things like that.
Okay.
Whether they might not be similar, but that's what they reminded me of.
So in my head, I wondered whether it would be a bit more like when we play Planeswalk. I wonder if there'll be
that kind of
a bit of a static ability, a bit like that sort of thing. So that could be really interesting. I'm looking forward to see what they do with it. Like, for me, the artwork just looks beautiful.
And finally, the return of the Wanderer as a creature, so I can finally build some kind of Wanderer commander deck.
Yeah, it was interesting to see her knopping around. That's a great character, and I'm glad they're leading into it a little bit, actually. I love the story behind the Wanderer, and I love that we now have an identity for the Wanderer, obviously being the Queen of Kamigawa.
You can see behind me as well.
Yeah.
For those that are watching on YouTube, I've got a giant Wanderer card.
You love your giant cards, don't you?
I do.
You need to pick yourself up another one at some point. Add to the.
I'm not sure I'll get permission for that, but we'll see.
Excellent. This is what I love. That's what I love. Okay, so the other one we got previewed more cards, and we'll now nicely sort of like nick into will be Bloomburrow. So if we talk about the previews we saw at Bloomburrow, and then we can talk a little bit more into a little bit like how we found the set so far, and then we'll come back to Amsterdam, the rest of Amsterdam afterwards if you're happy with that. So how have you found Bloomburrow so far then, Dom?
So I played in the pre-release.
Yep.
I went 3-2. Basically, almost all of my rares were rabbits. So,
okay, yeah.
And they were supporting my promo card was a little card called the Fecund Green Shell, which, for those who don't know, fecund means able to produce lots of offspring. So that fit right into the rabbit theme, but it is actually a turtle.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's not the one I thought.
And it's basically a 5-drop turtle in green, 4/6 reach, and if you have 10 or more lands, all your creatures get +2/+2.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's cool.
And whenever it or another creature with toughness greater than its power enters, you look at the top card. If it's a land card, you can put it onto the battlefield. Otherwise, you can put it into your hand. So it's like, 2 of those was a strong base to build around, and all of my lower cost creatures are all rabbits. They all synergize with each other. I lost a couple of games to just bigger creatures where I was playing a rabbit and they were playing like a massive raccoon that just rolled over me. But my deck performed pretty well. And shout out to Stu as well, who was there with us. He actually went 5-0 and took the pre-release.
I say he won it, didn't he? Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, he did really well. And much to my jealousy, he actually won not a giant card, but like a medium-sized card.
Medium, that's what I've seen.
Like a quarter-sized card. It's like, oh, he got a squirrel. I was like, oh, you little rascal.
You never know. Maybe you might not be able to get a giant card, but maybe you can squeeze in a medium-sized card.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, actually, that's a good point. But yeah, another fun fact for everyone, that there are 762 boopable snouts and 514 visible toe beans in this set. So it's just made for if you like furry friends and or fursuits in general, you'll enjoy this set. There's a lot of support for different creature types as well. They've done the same thing they've done with a few other sets, like in Kamigawa, they grouped like rogues, ninjas, and assassin into like a general grouping. They've done that with some creature types. You've got like rabbits, mice.
Got rats as well, haven't we?
Yeah. So all the different, so rats are in black, like mice are in white and red, and things like that. Each 2-color pairing has the creatures that share.
Lizards
between.
as well, isn't it? Is that red? Lizards
That's
are red.
Yeah. So as a set, it works really well. Sealed was a lot of fun. Everyone's decks were totally different, and it was really fun to play.
I think it's so far. I unfortunately I couldn't attend a pre-release event. I was a little bit gutted about that. But from what I've been seeing so far, they looked really good fun. The pre-release events did look really cool. I've got my pre-release kit behind me actually that I need to create.
Crack that puppy.
I will crack that. Well, I'm planning on doing a little video. I'm just going to do a bit of a, what a pre-release kit is, and and how I would build a deck really badly, mind you, because as Dom can attest, I always build bad decks. So
yeah, I think pre-releases, because it's what's called a casual event. It's a really good one for new players to get into as well.
100%.
There's a couple of people who struggle to build their decks, and chap called Mikey RLGS helped them rebuild their deck to make it better. So it's like, that's the kind of thing. It's just a great event. So it's always fun. You get to meet new people and just play some 1v1 Magic, which I don't often get a chance to do.
I do feel like I know I've sort of waxed lyrical about starter kits. I do think I still think they are the best way of learning Magic. Sit down with a friend or someone that knows. But I do think once you have grasped the basics, particularly when you're moving into deck building, I do honestly think actually that's probably your next best step, because like you sort of said, the environments are normally very friendly, very beginner friendly, and a lot of the times there are people around. You could go to the person that's next to you and be like, I'm struggling, I don't know which direction to go, and they can just flick through and be like, okay, well, these are your signposts. What a signpost it is A, B, and C. These are your bomb mythics, or these are your bomb rares. You kind of want to lean towards this. 2 of your signposts also in the same colors as your mythic and your rares. I would maybe lean towards that. You've got color fixing that can go into that. That's the natural lead. Or sometimes it can just be like what I do, which is I hand my made deck to Dom, and he goes, why have you done this? You've got some amazing dinosaurs in the strongest part in the format, and you've decided to leave them out, you muppet.
Yeah, these things happen. Sometimes you get like an early rare or your promo, and that kind of influences you a bit too much. So it's about evaluating, obviously, the card pool as a whole, and then trying to build the best deck that you can. And it is often hard to see past that. I've done it myself in the past several times. So
yeah, my issue with that particular deck that I built is I was so focused on removal and evasion that I missed key parts of power because I was too busy looking at removal and evasion, which then steered me away from what effectively was a considerably better deck. And
if you can play a huge dinosaur every turn, that's probably better than,
Well, it's telling as well, because the first 2 games I played, I lost, and I think the next 3 after that I won. So, cheers, Dom.
Yeah.
You always steer me in the right way.
Extra boosty.
I think I did actually. I might have got 2 if I remember rightly. But yeah, those events are always really, really good. Have you had your eyes on Standard at all, or see how it shaped things up in Standard at all? I know you don't always keep your eyes peeled on it, but
I know they've just made some or announced some changes to a lot of energy cards on Arena to nerf them. So like
is it Galvatic Insurrection?
Or gut the deck, you could say. Yeah. So it's certain cards that produce less energy, so they're going to have a lesser effect and be a little bit less powerful than they currently are.
The energy seems really powerful. I've also, when you start seeing, quote unquote standard cards starting to see a bit of play in modern as well, they're pretty good. Do you know what I mean? And that is something we have seen a little bit of. There's been an undertone of power. So it's got to be a good thing.
I think Bloomburrow is definitely having an impact, or it will do. It's like some cool decks, like black white bats decks and things like that.
Yep.
It's like most of the key pieces come from this set.
So when we're recording this, we're 2 weeks past pre-release now, I think. So we're in that weird position where the standard format is starting to settle, or is still a bit muddled. Let's put it like that, because we've had rotation. We've not had rotation in a while, but we have now just had rotation. So we're now just starting to find out certain cards have been cut and certain cards are now being brought out back into it. I am gutted that some of the best blue-white cards have now been cut from the standard. Rest in peace, Memory Deluge and the Wandering Emperor.
I'm not sad about this.
I know you're not, but I am legitimately sad. Like I was looking at building. I'm always looking at building blue-white decks, but I was looking at building one the other day, and I was like, oh, I want a card that's basically Memory Deluge. I was after card draw, and I can't remember which card it was. It's the same sort of mana cost, but it's draw 2 cards, I think it is, or something like that. And I was just like, it's just not Memory Deluge. It's just not Memory Deluge. Yeah. I'm missing that card horrifically already.
That's the thing. Rotation can hit hard, but after a couple of sets, I think a lot of those key pieces will have returned or equivalent.
You are dead right. I mean, I currently, my sort of the stuff I've seen through Bloomburrow, there's been some really good cards I've seen, and there's been some really interesting stuff to potentially build around for Commander. But the one thing that I have noticed for me, just looking at Standard, I know I look at lots of different formats, but for Standard, is that actually it has gutted the archetypes. Well, I still wouldn't say it's gutted, but it hasn't added massive amount to control. And what it has added isn't, in my opinion, isn't as powerful as what's rotated out. So I'm a little.
So I'm just trying to stifle my smile.
I know. So if you're listening to this podcast instead of watching on the YouTubes, Dom's smile is humongous. It's like someone's just told me he's won the lottery. But
I mean, it honestly, it's always sad if you can't play the deck you want to play at the end of the day. So I do feel for you a little bit, but
no, not that bad, yeah. But the one thing I would say is it has actually made me, or making me, looking at different ways of building a deck. So, I like deck building. I'm sure I'm going to build an absolute pile of jank and it's going to do no good when I go to an FNM or anything like that. But, it is what it is. But I would sort of say, actually, I'm just having a look at these images now. There's a couple of cards that I'm really keen and quite interested to play in CDH. So one is called Poliwag Prodigy, which is for a blue and a generic. It's a 1/3 evolve a frog wizard. When an opponent casts a non-creature spell with mana value less than Poliwag's power, draw a card. So there's a lot of zeros.
That's pretty good, yeah.
There's a lot of zeros and ones in CDH, as we all are probably aware of, or if you're not, there definitely is. And the other one I'm keen to give a try is one called Mockingbird, which is pay X and a blue for a 1/1 creature with flying. You may have Mockingbird enter as a copy of any creature on the battlefield with mana value less than or equal to the amount of mana you spent on Mockingbird, except it's a bird in addition to other types, and it has flying. So
that's a really interesting one because, yeah.
So
they could play a bomb and you copy it straight away. It's like being able to play the same mana is cool.
Yeah, I mean, so basically you're effectively paying 1 mana more to get whatever it is. Now, obviously, I'm talking CDH at this moment in time, so you're not going to be getting your massive sort of, your big one-offs. You're not getting your Crater Hoofs or anything like that. But what particularly I have in mind is someone plays a Dockside Extortionist. Yeah, sounds like a good idea. I fancy one of those. Yoink.
Yeah.
I'll grab one of those. Or, there's lots of things you can do, So I recently built a new CDH deck. I've built Blue Farm, and I'm trying to go more of a creature. I wouldn't say creature heavy, but there's more creatures in it than there normally is, but trying to double up on some of those effects, like some of the stacks effects, Drannith Magistrate, that sort of stuff, is always quite good. Double layered, Grand Abolisher, yeah.
I do love a Grand Abolisher as a mono white player. It just keeps those pesky blues in place. But when they created their own, that's just real sad, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So that's the thing. Although, talking of which, actually, I played some CDH games at the Artorial Guild event last weekend, and I am a massive fan of Teferi Time Raveler, but I was reminded what it's like to play against it, and I both equally loved it and I equally hated it, only because I had no removal or no way of getting rid of it in my hand. But the amount of times where it'd be like, okay, in response, and it'd be like, nah, that's not how that one works. Oh, why is that? Teferi's in play. Oh. Or it'd be their play, and it'd be like, oh, because he'd plussed it so he can play sorceries and sorceries at injury speed, and he'd be like, oh, I'm going to do this, and we were all just like, oh my god. It was glorious, absolutely glorious. So what about in terms of Commander then? Have you got your eyes on any cards or anything in particular that you would like to build around or collect or anything like that?
I already have a Squirrel deck, so kind of done that already. There's a few cool cards in the set for Wyatt. I really like Salvation Swan.
Okay.
So it's like another. It's kind of a blink card. It's like a 4 mana 3/3 with flash.
Isn't it like Resplendent Angel, but like
it's that equivalent. So you can blink something without flying, and it comes back in your end step with a flying counter on it.
It's like Brood.
Or the next end stop, sorry, because it has flash, so actually you can save a creature and it comes back with flying.
It's like Broodmoth, but Broodmoth is when it dies and it comes back with flying counter on it. No, I like that. I really like. I've seen that a little bit actually. It looks really, really good actually.
Yeah, I really like all the modal cards in this set. So for those that don't see them, they're I'll read you the white one. It's called Season of the Burrows. It's 5 mana, and when you cast it, you get little 5 paw prints. So,
and you could spend them.
Yeah, you can spend these paw prints however you like. So there's 3 options. One is 1 paw print, create a rabbit. The next one's 2 paw prints, exile a non-land permanent. Its controller draws a card. Or for 3 paw prints, you can return a target permanent card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield with an indestructible counter on it.
Ooh.
So if you want to, you can make 5 rabbits, right? Or you can return something and create a couple of rabbits as well.
Yeah. I mean,
so
they're all
of these are pretty cool.
Yeah, I was going to say, they're all pretty decent, aren't they? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Anything else of note?
All I would say is there's a lot more otters. There was obviously when Loot Tree got banned before it got released in Commander. Everyone's real sad about that, and they've gone back, and there's a couple of legendary otters which look really powerful, actually.
Yeah.
And yeah, in general, there's just a lot more otter support. So for those of you that were sad about Loot Tree being banned before you even got to play with it in Commander, that is, there's some more support.
I love. Sorry to interrupt. I love that you've said otter support there. Sorry, I interrupted. Go on.
So yeah. People that are disappointed with that can get their otter on, I guess.
Get their otter on. I love that. Beautiful.
But yeah, any of these creature types that you felt was a little under supported, like birds as a kindred, I guess, they've just got a lot of stuff coming out of this. Yeah, almost. Well, there's a lot of rares in the set which are creatures, so it lends itself well to creature decks at the moment. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, there's definitely some really nice stuff knocking around from, obviously, look, it's Bloomburrow, it's all about, creatures and whatnot, and it's really nice to see what they've done with it, actually. From what I've seen of it so far, it's really interesting. I am looking forward to actually having some time to sit down and maybe build. I haven't yet really found a card that I've gone, I really want to build around this. But the one I have looked at and I thought, I'm really looking forward to put that in the 99 is the Mahara, the Feathers Knight, the black owl.
Yeah, of course.
That basically I've got it in front of me, so I'll quickly read it. So it's for 5 mana. It's a 6/5 flying with trample. Ward, discard a card. Bit of ward, yum yum.
Even if it had no other text on it, that would still be pretty good.
Yeah, it would. You're right. But here comes the real kicker. Creatures your opponent control have base toughness of 1. Ooh.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're building around that in Commander, there's loads of enchantments that give creatures -1/-1 or tokens -1/-1. And
yep, 100%.
This kind of thing.
There's a lot there. Yeah, I played against one. There was there's quite a few creatures actually. I played against one at the weekend that he does all that sort of stuff. Chatfang, it'd be great in a Chatfang deck because I'm pretty sure that's got like a -1/-.
Yeah, it does.
Ability.
There's also stuff like a Massacre Worm. So if you play this card and then a Massacre Worm, all your opponents probably die if they're playing creature deck, I guess.
I mean, yeah. So I was thinking about this the other day actually, and what I thought would be a nice little Brucey combo with this would be OG Elish Norn.
Yeah, it's a classic. Although obviously, if you're running this to your commander, you're in mono black.
Well, that's why. Personally, I think this is a card in the 99 more so than build a deck.
I think so.
To me personally, I mean, I don't mind playing a little bit of black, but I've struggled with mono black commanders because of the build around. The only one I've really enjoyed is Tegrid, but we'll just brush over that. It's fine.
Yeah,
we're just going to brush over that. Okay. But I have seen a couple of ones that I really do quite fancy, but I've just when I start building them, I just the feel and the vibe of it is just not really. I feel like it's missing some bulk to it, and
That's fair enough. I think in any deck that you can ping, or like you say, give -1/-1 or something,
Yeah.
it's just hilarious.
I mean, if you've got, yeah, exactly. If you're building like a Tim deck and you've got access to black, this would be great because basically it is just removal on a stick. It is the kind of the equivalent of, your tap does 1 damage and it's got death touch, whether it be like through an artifact or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. That one is the classic, it's removal on a stick sort of thing. I always quite like a Goblin Sharpshooter with Death Touch because I always just think to myself, the deadliest sniper out there. But yeah, that's really cool. Other thing of note for myself is the is it Courageous Critters reprints. So these are cards that have had. So the notable ones are the Planeswalkers. So you've got Nissa, who shakes the world, Jason the Mind Sculptor, Liliana of the Dark Realms, and it's just gone from my head, but there's at least another one. Rao, so you got the Otter.
So basically on this plane, if you planeswalk to it, there are no humans. You transform into an animal of some kind. So like Liliana transformed into a squirrel, and Jace transformed into a fox. So there are no humans, and everyone who planeswalks here gets their persona handed out to them. So
I really like that. I think that's really cool. I mean, I know this set has been dubbed as the furry set, but I think that's doing a bit of an injustice, if I'm honest with you, because I think this set is a lot more fleshed out than just this is for people that like furries and animals. Do you know what I mean? The art on some of these cards is just incredible. Yep. A lot of it is very cute, but also you've got a lot of very cool artwork. Well, so just bringing back to the bird again, Maraha, the Featherless Knight. Both of those bits of art are just incredible. I mean, your art for me is just absolutely phenomenal, and I know they do a really nice Ultimate Guard do a really nice deck box with that on, and I gonna have to get that because I just think it's fantastic. But you're dead right. Some of the artwork in this is very, I would argue, understated a little bit as well, but it's really, really beautiful. I mean, I'm a big fan of bright colors anyway, and bright colors and good artwork, and this set ticks the boxes a lot for me.
Yeah, I think my favorite piece of art in the set, it's a white card called Dewdrop Cure.
Oh,
and
what does this do?
So there's a new mechanic that allows you to gift cards.
Gift
bonuses to your opponents when you play them, and you get some kind of extra effect. So this card, it's 3 mana or 2 generic, 1 white mana. Gift a card, so you can promise an opponent a gift as you cast the spell. If you do, they draw a card before its other effects. Mm-hmm. So they get to draw a card, and you can return up to 2 target creature cards, each with mana value 2 or less, from your graveyard to the battlefield. Ooh. And if the gift was promised, you return up to 3 creature cards with mana value 2 or less from the graveyard to the battlefield.
Oh, yeah.
So that's really good. But the artwork on it, it's this tiny little mouse with a bandage around its head, and there's some yellow flowers above it, and there's just a little dewdrop falling down towards its whisk, and it's kind of reaching up to get this cure. And that piece of artwork kind of sums up the set for me.
Yes, it's
great.
There is some beautiful stuff going on here.
The artist, is Chris Rallis for that. So,
very nice,
beautiful piece of artwork.
I mean, you know very well, Dom, that I love a bit of artwork, particularly Magic the Gathering. But yeah, this is definitely one of those ones where I haven't found my favorite piece yet in the set. I like to absorb it for a little bit, and then I tend to sort of settle on. There's a bit that I'm really like, that's one of my favorite bits.
I think if you haven't been keeping it close on previews, there might be one of the alternate art frames and something you just haven't seen that actually you see it and you're blown away by it.
Yeah, I think this is the thing. I mean, the old arts, they do capture me. I mean, don't get me wrong, some of the standard stuff is incredible. But I feel like I'm sure I'll settle on something and it'll be really, really nice. But so what do you think what do you think we're gonna have after Dustborn then? Just quickly, moving to one side from Bloomburrow then. So obviously we've got furry creatures in the forest. We're now looking into sort of dark, sort of Ghostbusters-esque. What do you reckon's up and coming after that then? What do you reckon's going to
So now they did reveal kind of the general theme of some of the future sets, didn't they? So because of the events, if people haven't been reading the story, hashtag no spoilers, but Jason Vraska on Thunder Junction, they broke into a vault, and it was just a little creature in the vault.
Called Loot, wasn't it?
Yeah, and he can see basically all of the Omen Pass like a map in his head, and obviously Jace can read minds, so that's handy for him.
Yep.
So they've taken this little creature, and they're kind of going to travel the multiverse and cause some shenanigans. But it is from a species that is a spacefaring. Mm-hmm. So they've said we're going to get a space-themed set. It's like some of their technology have turned up on other planes, like obviously this vault on Thunder Junction. Sure. You've seen Ruhan of the Femoria, I think it is the name of the species.
Okay, Femoria. Yeah, that sounds right.
Yes, so you've seen them a couple of times throughout Magic's past, and they've been kind of sprinkling little bits. In the Lost Caverns Ixalan, it looks like they were obviously had some technology from them as well.
Yep.
So they've obviously visited these planes. So we're going to see that at some point. And then I can't remember what it was. It's so long ago now that they kind of gave a little overview of what was coming up. But yeah, that's obviously locked in. So that'll be really interesting. Obviously, they kind of touched on sci-fi with the Unset, but obviously this one's a little bit different. It's in the universe.
Yeah. That's a big difference, that is, isn't it?
Yeah. I feel like the Unset was relatively well received. I think there was a bit of obviously controversy about the split between Acorn cards and regular cards in the same set, but it gave some people a reason to buy it, I think. And some of the artwork in that, obviously the shock clowns and stuff was just next level.
Phenomenal.
If they can bring the kind of the essence of that through into a stand set, it'll be amazing. The artwork alone will be just incredible.
Yeah, I mean, the same as with the unsets. I have some slight reservations, but I have with some of the Secret Lairs in the past, and they have come out, and I've gone, actually, I'm all right with this. So, I'm keeping very open-minded about this. I do believe that you are close to delving outside of the Magic the Gathering universe, but equally, it depends. I want to see what they do with it.
Yeah, it's interesting because they just recently went back to the Brothers' War, which was like that's verging on sci-fi.
Yes, yeah, very
already.
much.
You've got giant robots. Okay, they've got power cores instead of nuclear reactors or what have you, power stones.
Yep.
But it's effectively, there's giant robots, there's things, and a lot of people forget that actually, Magic's past. It was pushing the boundary towards kind of more sci-fi style, and obviously they came away from that a little more. But now, I don't see that there's any reason, in an infinite universe of planes, there will be some places that, your planes walk and it's a space station,
Yeah, no, I absolutely.
It's one of those things, but keeping everything, and I think they delved into like the slightly more modern era with Kamigawa, and obviously that was a huge success.
Yep. We also have a new Capenna as well. Obviously, I know people were a bit worried about.
Slightly less well received, but
but I mean, they effectively, it was less received, but let's be honest, that had some potential, some problematic things, gangsters with Tommy guns, all that sort of stuff. But, there was a few nods towards it, but I wouldn't say they, I felt like
obviously they're pushing the boundaries, and I think if it's done well, it could be a great success.
Yep. Like I said, I'm prepared to be open about it. 100%.
Yeah. And also, obviously, next year we're getting some Marvel stuff as well. Mm-hmm. So obviously, a lot of those heroes, obviously, are like Captain Marvel, all this kind of thing. They live in space, right? The Guardians of the Galaxy. They're all spacefaring, so actually, there's a tie-in there as well. So maybe we'll see some like reskinned cards or something like that as well.
Yep.
That'll fit in alongside the space set.
Yeah, that sounds fine.
There was although take this with a basically metric truck ton of salt that someone posted a little in the rumors section of a Star Trek card, but how true that is, I don't know. That was like a playtest card, but it's unfounded rumors, so I'm not going to give it any kind of.
Just give it a nod and a wink, and that's it.
Yeah. maybe we'll see a secret lair of some kind.
Yeah, we'll see.
That'll be cool.
We'll see what happens. Yeah, I'm all look. If they're reskins, I don't have an issue pretty much with any Universes Beyond if we're talking reskins, as long as there is a in-game equivalent. But that becomes difficult. Obviously, you have a Federation soldier with a phaser. It becomes a bit difficult. But I don't know. They done it. They done it okay in the 40k. I know that was obviously a separate thing. That was sort of, but I'm open. Yeah. I'm open. We'll see.
Yeah, one thing actually I forgot to mention in regards to Bloomburrow is that the list has been dissolved, hasn't it?
Yes.
So you used to get these cards on the list, and actually now you instead get these returning
special guests, aren't they?
Special guest cards, instead.
Yeah.
And I think the best time they did it was with New Capenna when they were reprinting these Universes Beyond cards in universe.
Yep.
And every card on the list was a rare or mythic. That made it feel amazing when you pulled one.
Yep.
And that'll be how it is going forward. So if you get one of these special guests, actually it feels like you're getting something worthwhile rather than a random common from 10 years ago that's basically didn't see play anywhere, which was just weird. Yeah,
I mean it's nice because you'll pull something, you'll be like, oh, I haven't seen this and it's interesting, but like you sort of said, half the time you read it and be like, it's gonna see no play in any of my decks and gets pushed to one side.
Yeah, I feel like they are falling behind, or maybe it's just gone by the wayside that they are printing these Secret Lair unique cards in the main sets, because we haven't seen any for a while.
No, we haven't.
And you've had stuff like I built the deck like Lara Croft, for example. You had all the characters from the Dungeons and Dragons.
D&D. Yep, I was going to say the meme,
which I guess you could argue is already in universe.
Yeah,
given the two D&D sets we have, but it's there. They were only available in that Secret Lair.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll do. I mean, that one's probably a little bit easier. The reskins tend to come with copyright queries or issues, whereas
it shouldn't be the case for D&D.
It shouldn't be. Yeah, I mean, obviously they're separate IPs, of course, but that one should be a lot of an easier crossover than anything else we've had. It's certainly a lot easier than say like Walking Dead or whatever. So. Yeah. That should be
I feel like those ones, like the Transformers cards, obviously we'll never get.
No.
I don't think.
Probably not.
Because it's a Hasbro IP, but, I'm not sure how many people want these now. It's like, I think it's kind of bedded in enough that people have just come to accept that there will be cards that don't have a Magic in the Universe version. But the problem is the availability. If someone wants to build a Lara Croft deck, they can't, right? That's the problem. More so than the fact that it's got a different piece of art on it.
I mean, I think I was going to say, it'd be handy to sort of mention you can, but because of the lack of availability, you may end up paying through the nose for it. So Rick Steadfast was a great example about this. That was released as a Secret Lair, and you could only get it in the Secret Lair. So because it saw, was it in, what format did it see? It saw it in Humans. Was it?
It was Legacy.
Legacy, that's what it was. Yeah, it was Legacy Humans.
It was that good.
Yeah, I mean, it is fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely one of the key pieces in my Winota deck. It's always good whenever you pull Pickle Rick. You're always like, yep, here we go.
Pickle.
Here comes the fun. But equally they rectified that. This was the first. We've been discussing about. So we'll see what happens moving forward. But
yeah. I think there's obviously a little controversy at the moment because they moved on from the print to demand format for Secret Lairs to the once it's gone, it's gone. What do you think about that?
I don't like this, if I'm honest with you. I think it should be print to demand. The reason why I say that is so we've recently had the one of the latest Secret Lairs, which would have been the Monty Python's Secret Lairs. Now, for old hats like you and I know we were both quite excited about this, particularly when I saw it was the Holy Grail. I was like, oh my God, I've got very fond memories of the Holy Grail. I really do. But it sold out within like 2 hours or something. And
yeah, even less than that, I think.
I think you're right. And I know there was a lot of people that, because of the timings, it's quite difficult. So I know for us, there was crossovers with work. And I think there were people in the US that basically woke up and was like, and it's gone. And I do think they're doing it for a reason. I don't know what that reason is. They know that reason, and I'm not going to speculate on that reason. But equally, they do it for a reason that's good enough for them. I just think it's a bit of a mist of an open goal, because surely if you've got to make 1,000 of these, but if the demand is 1,500, surely that's...
Yeah.
I'm sure it's time, don't get me wrong, or whatever, but...
It's almost certainly printing capacity, right? Because if you only print 1,000, they will all sell. You will get all of your money from printing that, and you can start printing something else immediately after that.
Yeah.
If you don't know how many there would be, you get into this problem where actually it's not dispatched for 7 months, by which time the universe version is in your booster packs anyway.
Yeah, I get it. I do understand, and I get it.
You can see it from the business perspective. They know that amount of product, they can print it and it will sell immediately.
Yes.
And with a couple of them, like the D&D movie ones, they pre-printed them, and I got it like 3 days after I ordered it, which was amazing.
Oh, wow.
So if they could do that for all of these Secret Lairs, that would be much better. But at the moment, it feels like, well, they're limited, but also you're still not going to get them for however many months it is. It's like you've got to kind of do one or the other.
Yeah. It feels like they're having printing issues, full stop. You know, how many times have we discussed the fact that, you know, LGSs might not even get their cards for release, or you know, we've had some. Was it Modern Horizons 3? There was some question marks whether they would get it for their release weekends. I know some places in the States didn't get it, or they were a day out or something like that. Like, so there's obviously some what's the word? So there's definitely some funneling going on, and something that's holding things up. You know, maybe the ultimate problem is that, I'm just putting it out there, I don't honestly believe this, but, you know, are they printing too many sets and too many products, and their production just can't keep up with it? You know, maybe there is that. I don't know if that is it, maybe. I mean, there's been a couple of delays, but in general, they've seemed to have got on top of that for the main sets, haven't they? Yeah, there's been some close calls, though, hasn't there? You know, I always sort of sit there and I think to myself, well, you know.
Yeah, but in again, it's like, if I'm going to miss out on the Modern Horizons 3 release date because you're printing off Basic Land Secret Lairs, I'm not going to be happy as the manager who has to oversee that, right?
Nope, I completely understand that, Bala. You know, basically, you know, your standard sets kind of have to be your bread and butter. Then it's going to be your special / modern, you know, your Modern Horizon sets, whatever, you know, your special sets that you can release. And then it's going to be your products after that, really, isn't it? Although, let's be honest, they're probably more focused on Commandery stuff than anything else at the minute, which is fine. Get it? It's popular.
I mean, keeping some of the Commander decks in stock has been a problem. There's always one that seems to be just way, way more popular than the others.
Yeah.
And because they come in a box of 4 of one of each, right, normally, it creates this real scarcity problem if there's a popular deck.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, shops aren't going to buy 50 boxes and know that they're going to have, you know, because there'll be the popular one that will sell out within weeks, maybe even days. Yeah. There'll be the second popular one. Yeah, exactly. Well, no, it's a very good point. Yeah. Or there'll be the second popular that will probably sell just after, if not a little bit longer. And then there'll be the other two, if not one of them, that, you know, I think all LGSs are a bit guilty of this. It's not their fault, but you look on their back, on the back of their walls, there's always a pre-con of, you know, 2 years ago or something like that, and you know they end up having to slash prices to sell it, which is fine.
Yeah,
but
it's rough but smooth, isn't it? But it's interesting because you almost have to, if you think you might want the deck, you might have to pre-order it before you've even seen the cards that are in it.
Yeah.
Which I don't think was the case even, like a year ago.
So my worry / concern is particularly, I've always thought this as well, is that, are people buying these because there are valuable reprints, or are they just generally interested in the decks? So before we go any further, I know like the Eldrazi one was a really good, the Modern Horizons Eldrazi one was basically, if you had that, and where was the other Eldrazi deck from?
That was from Commander Legends.
Yeah.
2, wasn't it?
So basically, you mash those two together, you've got a proper good. I mean, that first Eldrazi deck was good anyway. So if you mash those two together with the best of the best, you've got an amazing deck. Like, you've got a really, really good deck. So I can totally get that one. But it's when you get, like, they've had the reprints of certain cards. The latest one we had, was it Black Market Connections in one of them, I think it was?
Oh, yeah.
So, don't get me wrong. I'm sure people. Well, my question is: are people buying this to rip out the black market connections and then sell it on before whatever, or are they generally interested? I mean, that's where always my question is a little bit. And if it is that, it's like, well, that's not really. I wouldn't say it's not fair, but it's not how I would want to be buying decks. Let's put it like that.
I guess it's tough to anticipate from a design point of view. Well, I mean, you can design a card and know it's powerful, but then again, sometimes they design cards and don't realise they are powerful.
Okay.
Right, and end up getting banned. And
okay.
These kind of things. Or like all these energy cards, it's like if you look at them in Arena, they're totally different. They've been nerfed.
Yep.
Quite heavily, so.
Yeah.
But in paper, they've got no such luxury. You can either ban it.
Yeah, it's a bit of a difficult one. It's hard to sort of say. Actually, while we're talking about that sort of subject, we are not that far off an impending ban hammer. The bird that everybody's talking about. What are your thoughts?
I think it'll go. I think it's.
I think in modern it's got to, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I think when you're looking at the deck lists. I mean, bear in mind when we were at Amsterdam, there was 6 of the top 8 were Nardu decks.
Yeah, that. I mean, it's a problem, right? It's always one of those things. It's like, actually, if you can create a deck to beat Nardu, you're fine. But then if you don't play against it, you just lose.
Yeah.
So actually, your best bet is normally always going to be to play the most powerful deck, rather than a counter against the most powerful deck. It's like, actually, I'll just play this myself, and obviously that's the conclusion that the pros came to.
So when you're having the community that is effectively hosting they're hosting unsanctioned modern events that are basically a hard ban on Nardu in it already, it kind of tells you what the community thinks about it, don't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
They're also. It just sounds like they're trying to prepare themselves for the inevitable, because at this time it feels like it's got to happen. If it doesn't happen this time round, it will definitely happen the next time because of the pressure. Like, it has to.
They've got to. I mean, also I feel like the bans, they should just ban adjacent pieces, which just doesn't sort out the problem.
Yeah, I mean, if you
can sometimes impact other decks as well. Just ban the problem card.
If you go after, they've done this in the past. I mean, if there was initial talk about going after what's the artifact? Shuko. Yeah, they were talking about going after Shuko, and you're a bit like, really?
Yeah, but there's also, it was a creature that enables it as well, isn't it? It's the something on Vec where you can pay 0 to prevent damage, and you can just activate that loads and loads of times as well.
There's a few of them like that.
Banning Shuko doesn't solve the problem at all. You need to ban Nadu. At the end of the day, you just have to.
What did I have? We'll come back to
Nardu. Like lightning. I mean, in Commander, obviously.
We'll come back to that in a minute, because I do want to talk about that in a second. I can't remember what it was. What's the? It's an artifact creature that whenever it's targeted, whenever something is targeted, you can pay 0 and you can change the target onto something Ravager.
Oh,
Arcbone Ravager, I think it is. Or Arcbow?
No, it's got a blue Phyrexian to change the target of something, hasn't it?
You're right. Yes, that's exactly what it is. Anyway, so I put that into because I think that's modern legal, but I put that into my Nardu commander deck, and yeah, that definitely facilitates the problem. Let's put it like that. But yeah, I thought it was Arcbone Ravager or something like that. Either way, what are your thoughts of it in Commander?
It's one of those decks. It is literally impossible to build a casual version of it, which means you can only play at high-powered tables, because no matter how badly you build the deck, it's still a Nardu in the command zone.
So,
similar to Urza, I think. It's like there is no way to build a bad version if you put artifacts in it. In some respects. Unfortunately, it just is the case. Same with Kinnan.
I broadly agree with you. But I think
I'm talking about casual tables. So
I know exactly. So I actually think out of all those three you've just mentioned, I definitely think Nardu is considerably the worst of them, because all you need to do is target a creature, another creature with Nardu, or even Nardu when it's on the board. So the version I built, I wanted to build a +1/+1 counters version of it, and when it goes, it's just wild. I mean, basically, it does it or it doesn't do it. Most of the time it does it because it's easy to target stuff. I think you've made a very interesting point here, which is the point I was going to make, which is there isn't really a soft version of a Nardu deck. I think you're playing... So you build it for the same reasons I built it, which is it's high power and that's it. Like, there's no other real table you play it at, because... I do think you could build a softer Kinnan deck, and I do think you could build a softer Urza deck compared to Nardu. But what you're saying is right. Basically,
Kinnan's difficult because he is, even without his activated effect, he's just making all of your mana much, much more, and Simic does a lot with mana. No,
exactly. I mean, I definitely think Kinnan is a lot closer to Nardu than something like, say, like Kenrith, for argument's sake. I mean, you've got more restrictions there, more mana, all that sort of stuff. I appreciate that, and how you build the deck. I think it's the classic case of, and it's very easy to say dies to removal, but I think it's one of those commanders. If you sit down in a pod, particularly a high-powered pod, and someone's like, "I'm going to play Nardu," you basically know that it is effectively a 3v1, and as long as the pod is happy with that,
has to be.
I was going to say, as long as the pod is happy with that, then you roll the dice, you take your chances, sort of thing. I don't have a problem with it. Okay. Let me ask the broader hot take question here. Do you think it should be banned in Commander?
I don't think so.
No. Neither do I.
Although the Rules Committee did put out a statement that they were watching it.
I can understand why they would be watching it. Like, I can 100% understand it.
It is one of those cards, and I think they mentioned Paradox Engine in their statement, that you can take a 25-minute turn and still not win.
Yeah.
And that is not fun for anyone.
Yeah. So I was literally about to come on to this. I love Paradox Engine. Like, I
bought one just before it got banned.
Well, the funny thing is I was about to buy one, and then they banned it, and I was like, whew, I dodged a bullet there. But
it's a 5-mana artifact that does nothing. I don't know what you...
behave, come on. Even I can't defend that one. Even I can't defend that one, and I'll defend a lot of things. No, I agree with you. I mean, look, I think if they do ban it, it will weirdly not be for the power. I think it will be for... I can't remember, they word it.
It's a play pattern that you don't want to have happen, where someone is sitting there effectively twiddling themselves for 20 minutes, but with no way to win.
Yeah, exactly. And or a longer way to win.
Where the game is just over there and then. It's like, well, maybe I can find a win, but you're going to have to watch me play for 25 minutes to achieve it.
So I think that's sometimes the argument with extra turn decks as well, isn't it? Which is you basically, the problem is extra turns. Realistically, you gain such an advantage. You should be winning quite soon after those extra turns, particularly if it is an extra turns deck. You should be getting yourself into a power position. If
you're making infinite turns, it's irrelevant because the game is over right there and then, and 100%. You can just keep up playing next. If you're taking like 2 extra turns, your opponents are all like.
So I played interesting.
Then if you win in one of those extra turns, it honestly doesn't matter.
No, I mean, I don't necessarily have a problem with it. I'm just going to try and pull it up. I interestingly played against a deck on the weekend, which was interesting. So it's a Usury Fortune's Flame. So it's from Modern Horizons 2. So it's So it's a red, blue, and 1 generic for a 2/1 flying creature. Whenever he attacks, choose a number between 1 and 5. Flip that many coins. For each flip you win, draw a card. For each you lose, you take 2 damage. If you win 5 flips this way, you may cast spells from your hand without playing a mana card. So it's like an Omniscience for a turn. Mm-hmm. So
if you've got Croc's Thumb.
Yeah, so this is
very achievable.
This is exactly what I saw. So it was Croc the Thumbless, Croc's Thumb, and also Tavern Scoundrel, which is whenever you win a coin flip, create 2 treasures. So you're also feeding the beast as well. And you can sacrifice another permanent to flip again. So I tell you what, classic of these type of decks, he opened the gambit by sort of saying, look, basically I do more damage to myself than I do anyone else with this sort of stuff, blah, 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 blah. But his ilk thing was that he ended up I think he ended up playing like an Expropriate for nothing and then done some more extra turn shenanigans. And do you know what? I was all for it. It was good. It was interesting to watch. The guy was really nice. He was very apologetic for it, but he sort of said, actually, it's really cool to see this go off. And I was happy to see it go off.
Sometimes decks just do what they do. You get the perfect hand and it just happens. I mean, this guy, reading the card, you have to attack to begin with. Yep. He has no inbuilt protection. Okay, he's got flying, some evasion, but he's got no built-in protection. So, if you manage to attack and win all 5 coin flips, then, congratulations, you win, right? You've taken
the greatest of gambles, and you win, you lose, you don't. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, so, it's really interesting, and that's the beauty of Commander. That's the beautiful thing about Magic. There's so many interesting cards. I'd never seen this card, and it's probably because I read it and was just like, nah. Like, it doesn't tick the power boxes for me. Personally.
They've done coin flip decks, haven't they? They have. The Secret Lair coin flip deck is kind of solved. Whereas actually this guy does do something slightly different.
Yeah, exactly. It was an interesting build, and it was interesting to see it pop off as well. That's the beauty of events. But anyway, sorry, just come back to Nadu as well. The other thing I was going to say, how many people, other than me, have you seen play a Nadu deck?
No one.
Neither have I. And I think that tells you a little bit as well.
I just haven't built it yet.
Ooh. That's a bit of Nadu on Nadu action, eh?
I'll wait and see what the next rules committee is.
That's probably not a bad idea. Yeah, it's probably not a bad idea, particularly if you start putting. Well, I mean, that's the thing, though, isn't it? Because it
is nice to have a high-powered deck at the end of the day. A lot of my decks are precons or slightly upgraded precons, and it's like actually sometimes you do need to bust out. It's the last game of the night, and you do need to bust out thing. And I think people are sad about playing against my Atali deck now, so maybe I need something a bit.
I wonder why.
a little bit softer, but there we go.
Yeah, that's fine. What? Hold on. Do you think your Nadu deck would be softer than your Atali one?
Probably.
Interesting. See, I think a Nadu deck has got more chance to pop off. Whereas your Atali one would probably win quicker.
I think, like you say, Nadu, you have to play it and then you have to target it, right? Your opponents can target it, you still get to draw a card, okay, or get a land. Or
whatever.
But actually, as soon as Atali enters the battlefield, it's done. Depending what you hit off your opponent's decks, the game can just end there and then. And in some ways, actually, that is better than taking 40-minute turns with Nadu.
Yeah, no, there is an argument for that, and
Yeah.
I would look. Does the card by itself need to be? Do you know what? I would always be happy with the halfway house if they sort of said they banned it as your commander, but you could put it in the 99.
This was just something that they used to do, right? Is ban cards as commander, but
it does cause confusion.
It's not good enough. There's too many tutors in the format. It's like if it's in your 99.
Again, we're ticking the box. If you're playing with
you're
decks
in
with
green,
tutors in,
so it's very, very easy to just put that card onto the battlefield with numerous green cards.
I suppose.
To the point where it might as well still be a commander, and that's why they went away from that. I do agree with it.
It's a fair point. You make a fair point. Yeah, I can't really. I could make some soft arguments.
This is my secret commander, but it's it's been removed 3 times and it's come back already, so it's not. It might as well be in your command zone.
Yeah, I mean, there is that argument, particularly like saying Simic. Like, obviously there are ways of returning stuff from your graveyard in green, but it's not. So basically, what your deck would be tutors, graveyard recursion,
Flicker to protect, stuff like that.
Yeah. I actually think that'd be a really boring deck. Because the problem is you'd have to put so much in to support the card. But
once it hits, it's irrelevant because you win, right? If it sticks, you win most of the time. Or you create such a resource disadvantage that the game is effectively over.
Maybe you'd only play catch up, because I think you'd be at a disadvantage by playing that deck off the bat. So.
What your commander is. If your commander's Kinnan and you're searching up Nidu, you can win with one or the other.
Yeah, or just activate Kinnan. Oh, I found my Nadu. Here we go.
I found my Nadu,
yeah. Oh, I've got a creature that targets.
I think, especially if you're in black, for example.
Oh my god! Right, so I just had a thought. Bear in mind, in a Kinnan deck, there's lots of ways of blinking and getting infinite mana. God, imagine if a team of Sabertooth. You just blink. You just keep blinking it. That's the target. Comes back.
That's it.
Rinse and repeat. Oh, yeah. God, that might have to go in my Kinnan deck.
Yeah, it's too easy to combo off with it at the end of the day, and the combo doesn't kill your opponents. Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%. I totally agree. Okay, we've been going a decent time, my friend. We should probably start to wrap up. Anything else of note to mention?
I would say keep an eye out for the Mystery Booster 2 previews, which they've been showing from Gen Con, and actually they did on Weekly MTG just today. They showed some more cards. They've actually taken the decision to print a lot of arena-only cards into this set with acorn symbols on.
Yes.
As well, going back to our unset discussion.
That was interesting.
So actually, so there'll be cards that have only ever seen print as such on Arena, which will now be available in paper. So it's, the Oracle of the 9 or whatever it's called. You shuffle a copy of the Power 9 into your deck. They previewed that.
I love that. That card, that Arena card.
Just fun things.
I love that. I love that card. I love it. The problem is I mean, in that format, it'll be fine. It's the same as in cubes. It's fine. Yeah. It's fine.
You should take a Sharpie to your basic lands and shuffle in the Power 9 effectively.
I mean, I don't think that will ever be a thing in Commander. I like the idea of it. The practicality is, I think it then just breaks it. It just breaks it.
It's Acorn, isn't it?
So it won't be, but
not legal in any format except playing Mystery Booster 2.
Yeah. Or in cubes and stuff like that. So
exactly that. Yeah,
I'd love it really in a cube. Oh, that'd be great.
I think all of the playtest cards lend themselves well to cube play as well. So
I know.
Great time for cube.
I have heard of a few people. So one of the events I've done whilst at Amsterdam was the Unknown event, the Gavin Verheyen event, and there was some really, really cool playtest cards there. Some really, really powerfuls. And one of the guys I was talking to was sort of saying he's seriously considering about building a playtest cube. And I was like, that awesome. Sounds wild. Absolutely.
You have to let me know who it is. I'll just send them all my playtest cards.
throw them off like that. No, this Mystery Booster 2, I think is a really cool thing. And actually, I'm really looking forward to when it comes out a bit more general release, getting them into LGSs, doing some stuff in them. Because
I don't think it's confirmed that we're getting a retail edition like we did with the previous mystery boosters. They were a bit awkward because they hit like mid-COVID.
Yeah,
I actually picked up a couple of boxes of them to crack them. It was so much fun. But actually, yeah, these ones, obviously you will be able to get them via the Festival in a Box thing.
Yeah.
So while
they're the convention editions, aren't they?
Yeah, it's convention edition. So you can, there's a bundle called a Festival in a Box where you get like a booster box, a bunch of the promos, the playmats that you would normally only be able to obtain if you were attending the convention. Yep. So I think when MagicCon Vegas comes around, you'll be able to order this product, but it won't be cheap, I guess.
No, I wonder whether it might be worth just waiting and seeing what they do. I
think it'll be ongoing for a long time.
Yeah.
Like moving forward, all the conventions next year will have this available to play with.
Yeah,
I'm sure, and beyond. So.
I think an 18 to 24 month there may be an opportunity that they sell boxes of it, but I mean that's a long way off. But that'd be really interesting. I might even try and get hold of some and try and save them to come together, so people can come together to do like a draft or something like that of it. I think that'd be a really cool little thing.
You might be able to just buy boxes of it at Vegas, maybe.
Well, so yeah, when I go to Vegas, that's one thing I am going to try and keep an eye out, and it's one thing I might try and sort of keep a little eye out for. But yeah, that'd be interesting. It's an interesting product. How do you feel about the whiteboarder, just quickly?
It's a novelty, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's those who haven't seen the previews, they've put a lot of cards into the Future Sight frames. You've got like Sol Ring in the Future Sight frame.
I like the Future Sight frames.
Yeah, they've always been cool. Some of the cards, still see play today that were printed in that frame. Tarmogoyf is a classic one. They got
the nice. I know it's obviously Game Nights showed it off, but the Command Zone one is really cool in foil. That looks fantastic. Like there's some really cool ones. We're starting to see more of them now, aren't we?
Yeah, I think it's cool, and I don't really have a huge problem with the whiteboarder. It's just a bit sad if it's the only one in your deck. It's just half the time you need to be careful how you sleeve your deck because sometimes it's visible. But
yeah,
you can get black bordered inner sleeves if you don't like them.
Yeah,
at the end of the day.
Yeah, you can get like ultra sleeves, can't you?
And these are reprints. So I don't know if you saw they previewed the Urza with the original Vanguard artwork. Have you seen this?
I don't know if I have.
So Vanguard used to be a format where you had these big cards that changed the way your deck played. So maybe you had less life or more cards in your starting hand, that kind of thing.
Okay.
And there was a version of Urza was one of those cards, and they've just previewed that they are printing Urza. I think I can't remember if it's the Future Sight frame or not, but it is that original Vanguard artwork.
I'm going to look into that. That sounds very interesting.
Yeah. So actually, they're bringing through some really interesting pieces from history, and also some of the reprints, looking at them, they're being printed with art that has only ever been seen on like Magic Online.
Yes.
And things like that.
Yes,
so
I did see that.
Again, it's just a great way of getting that artwork out into paper. So yeah, I'm excited for it.
I think
it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a really interesting product. I definitely think it's the type of thing that would be good fun to sit down with your mates, basically sort of say, we're spending a day at the LGS. Let's all go sit down. Yeah, I would be keen as mustard to give this a try. I think this would be a really cool addition. It's a really cool product. I'm looking forward to seeing more of it, 100%. Cool. Anything else, my friend?
No, I think that's about it for now.
Okay, so let's start to wrap up. But the one thing I do want to mention is there's some changes are coming. I don't know about you, Dom, but... I can feel it in my waters, just something. Yeah, something in the distance, sort of like it's just coming in. It just feels like this. It just feels like it's hanging over us.
As ripples going out through the multiverse.
Yes, that's what I heard. I definitely heard that, and I can, it's something that everyone that's listening or watching needs to keep an eye on. We've got some big changes coming, and we both can't wait to share them with you. we're very, very excited about these changes. And hopefully, you never know, next pod you may see/hear what we've been up to/doing. So watch this space. Maybe make some comments down below. We'd love to hear what you guys think's going on. If you get it right, we're not going to confirm or deny it because that will spoil it for everyone. But yeah, that sort of brings me back onto. So yeah, we've got some changes coming. We're looking forward to, and we'll speak about this next time. As always, we thoroughly appreciate everyone that watches and listens to the pod. We apologise. There's been a bit of a gap between the last one and this one as well. But yeah, if you've got anything you want us to talk about, feel free to drop us a message, or, like, comment, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. You know how it is, Dom, but you know how it is anyway. All that sort of social media stuff that I always get wrong. Anyway, thank you very much, everyone, for listening/watching, and we'll catch you in the next one. Dom, until next time I see you, mate. Speak to you soon, okay?
Yep, it's been good. See you later.
See you later, guys.